the first time I did the pastelitos, I think I made like 20, 25 of them, thinking like, nobody knows what this is, and like, I think they were gone in like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah,
bet.
And then the Cuban, it's like the next time it's like a ticket rolls in first thing in the morning. They want 7 of them and stuff. It's like, oh, I'm taking this to my office. Everybody, or I know a Cuban, and I told them about this.
I'm Cuban B. Yeah. That's my favorite. I'm Cuban B.
Cuban B.
Ladies and gentlemen, croqueticas and pastelitos.
Wow.
You are listening
This is good.
to a new episode of Pan Con Podcast. I am Nick Jimenez, and I am joined as usual by 8th grade basketball MVP, proud Ford Bronco enthusiast, and owner of a bunch of places, one of which has a Michelin star, another one has a Bib Gourmand, and also another place has a Kentucky waterfall. We are joined by a special guest today, all the way from Somerville,
yeah.
From
Somerville, Cambridge area. Yeah.
Somerville, Massachusetts, which I learned recently has a funky name for the combined area. It's like
Camberville, yeah.
Camberville, from the Camberville area.
Wow,
yeah.
Hailing from Camberville.
Hailing from the Camberville area. We have Alexys Hernández, who you can find, not his personal thing, you can find his food things at Ensueño Cubano. Is there an underscore or something?
Mm-hmm. What's that?
Is there an underscore or something?
Underscore between the two.
Yeah. Ensueño _Cubano. He makes Cuban things at a bagel place in Cambridge, whose name Mike does not know. I'm saving this for right now. You know what this place is called?
No.
Bagelsaurus, ladies and gentlemen.
Bagelsaurus.
Wow, that is probably the best.
And that's where I step out and walk over there to fix your microphone.
You didn't finish my intro.
Oh, didn't I?
Also the actual host of Pan Con Podcast.
That's true.
The actual.
And I don't know if we've gotten there yet, but my show was hijacked from me this week. And I don't know if there must have been several complaints about me, so we tried John Falco. I don't know if that's going to improve our numbers or not, but here we are. And I'm back, everyone. Don't worry, I'm back.
Very good. Very good. This is where I leave you guys to do your talking, while I also attempt to fix Mike's microphone a little bit, because it's got this floppy. He's got a limp mic over there.
Oh, I got a limp mic, huh? I'm running a little floppy over here. Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So, Camberville, Somerville?
Yeah, Somerville, Cambridge.
What got you there? How did this all start? Let's start from the beginning.
All right, beginning.
Cuban food in Camberville. I want to know.
Yes. Okay. Well, I've been living there about 4 years now, and lucky to have an owner. The Bagelsaurus owner is a very, very supportive of endeavors. She started as a baker a baker at a sandwich shop and started doing her bagels as a pop-up there. Has kind of continued that tradition a little bit. Cool. So, I grew up all my just thinking, what do I want to do? Right. And working in coffee shops, restaurants, the works. And
when did you start working in restaurants?
18.
Yeah.
Pretty much right out of high school. Cool. In a fast food restaurant to start, and then
I started at Applebee's.
Yeah. Steak and Shake for me.
I love Steak and Shake, actually.
It was fun. Yeah. I mean, I ate a lot of that food. Not great. I left and I lost a lot of weight. Good. And then ever since, Yeah. But just trying to figure it out. And I thought I want to do coffee. I want to do this. And then thinking why don't I do Cuban food? Especially in Boston, Cambridge, Somerville. There's not a ton of it. There's your little pockets.
Is there other places that actually do Cuban food now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They good?
2 that I can think of. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing that nothing like you're gonna find around here when you go to a classic kind of place.
Right.
But enough to scratch that itch.
Yeah, my favorite thing is when you go to a Cuban restaurant and they have guacamole on the menu.
Yeah.
That's always moving. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, anyways, sorry.
You got to throw those things in, just like, hey, come on. My big beef with the places were, for all the sandwiches and everything, they just use like, French bread and stuff, and I wanted like Cuban bread. Just kind of figured out how to do that, and it kind of kept going, and I got the support from my boss.
There
we go.
Well, you got somebody coming in your face.
Oh my gosh.
And you're just sitting there taking it. Am I back here? You gotta check. You gotta put on your headphones. Yeah.
Give me some at my back noises.
I'm back.
Give me some more of that.
I'm here.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Get right up in there.
I'm right up in there.
Yeah, I like that.
So, you're just sitting there and taking it.
The way I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. It's getting real awkward here today. Fuck.
You start with a meme like that.
Yeah.
It's like okay.
Yeah. It's really going down.
This is gonna be a fun one. Where even was I? Oh yeah, Cuban food. Bring
Right.
it to but I wanted to bring kind of like, a little bit more of like a street food, like kind of casual,
Cool.
kind of thing. And I decided I wanted to do this like right before the pandemic, which was kind of good and bad because it gave me a lot of free time to like, because I had never baked or anything like that, and I'm trying to figure out how to do Cuban bread, and like failure after failure after
Cuban
failure.
bread is tough, man. I've tried so many times. It's like you end up with a product that's good, but it's not quite the Cuban bread that we grew up with.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, after a while, I was like, I'm not a fucking baker, and I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to stop. But, I mean, you feel like you found the secret sauce for Cuban bread?
I feel like I have.
That's amazing.
And I always, of course, every time it's like, oh, this is the best I've done, but also like I can do better. I can do better, and I want to, I always want to keep pushing.
Sure.
Keep pushing it, and luckily working at a bagel shop, I had a lot of bakers to kind of like ask, hey, what am I doing wrong here? It's like, oh, salt. It needs salt. Things like that. But yeah, just getting that together, and then I'd just keep practicing, and I'd bring the stuff in to work. I started like roasting pork at home, and I'd bring it in. Just like I want people to try it.
For sure.
Gauge where I'm at with it, and kind of kept going, and I started making like Cuban sandwiches on the bagels, and my boss was like, this is cool, like maybe we can sell this.
For sure.
And so we're closed every Monday just to do like prep for the week and everything, and that's when I go in and do a lot of my stuff. So then the next day I sell the Cuban sandwiches, and then I started doing pastelitos, and that was another fun thing, learning puff pastry.
You made puff or you bought it?
I made it.
Wow,
yeah, I
tough.
started buying it, and I was like, hey, this is good enough. And then I thought, no, I can figure this out. I can do it better. And yeah, it's tough, especially, I mean, we don't have great air conditioning in that kitchen.
Ooh, and for puff you need it.
Yeah. So the summer has been tricky. I've had to take some weeks off from doing those, but I've learned to work quick and like kind of do small batches just to kind of make up for it. So it's fun. It's been fun to like troubleshoot it, figure it out.
I mean, I feel like a lot of baking, because a lot of it has to do with the environment where you're at.
Yeah.
Because it's more of a science than it is just following a recipe. Humidity, how dry it is, it's crazy. So that's interesting.
Yeah. And Boston can get really humid and up and down, but I was never into science, so I thought like baking wasn't for me.
Me neither. Just to put it out there.
Yeah.
Definitely never thought about being a scientist as a kid.
Super interesting, but
just not my bag.
Yeah. You can tell me about it, and that's great, but that's where it ends. But yeah, it's been a fun, but also challenging, but it's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what's the, like, tell me the menu that you put up for, because it's a pop-up, right? You're doing pastelitos. Any croquetas or just pastelitos?
Just pastelitos, yeah.
Thanks to our sponsor, Aganorsa Leaf Cigars.
Aganorsa Leaf is renowned throughout the world for its signature flavor that possesses all the great attributes of Nicaraguan terroir, along with classic Cuban aroma and flavor.
Aganorsa Leaf is pleased to announce a brand new edition of Guardian of the Farm, Cerberus, named after the mythical three-headed hound that stood watch at the gates of Hades. This exciting new Nicaraguan puro uses 100% Aganorsa leaf tobacco and is wrapped in Aganorsa's new Corojo 2012 cover leaf, which adds a level of complexity to the blend, adding light spice and a rich, smooth body to the blend.
When you smoke one of our world-class blends, you will experience the difference between ordinary tobacco and Aganorsa leaf. That's why we say our leaf is our strength. Learn more about Aganorsa leaf and use their store locator and find a cigar shop near you that carries their products at www.aganorsaleaf.com.
The two of us smoke Aganorsa Leaf cigars often. We also offer them to a lot of our guests, like, for example, Dave Arvello, who every time I post a picture of a Cerberus mentions to me in my DMs or in a text how cool the band is, which it actually is a pretty slick-looking band. But also, I just want to note, little personal anecdote here, so it's not all totally straight-up red. I can say that Michael Beltrán will absolutely not only vouch for the quality of Aganorsa cigars, but you met a Miami legend and handed him an Aganorsa cigar.
I did meet a Miami legend. I was smoking nearby Alonzo Mourning, and we had a conversation about cigars, and he handed me one of his, and I went inside. I bought this exact same cigar, and I handed Alonzo Mourning this Aganorsa cigar, and I said, try this. Thank me later.
I mean, if that's not an endorsement, I don't know what is. Aganorsaleaf.com.
Introducing the newest line from Drew Estate Cigars. 20 Acre Farm is a complex, refined, and medium-body cigar with a super oaky and cedary notes accompanied by a whisper of white pepper and a bright hint of citrus. Built at La Gran Fabrica, Drew Estate in Nicaragua, using a velvety, and I mean velvety, Ecuadorian Connecticut shade-grown wrapper.
Under that wrapper is a sun-grown Habano binder and a filler blend of Nicaraguan tobaccos from Esteli and Jalapa in perfect balance with the opulent and majestic Florida sun-grown leaf. Florida sun-grown is also the name of the farm where that tobacco is lovingly grown and harvested by Jeff Borshowitz, who's the guy you see in this video playing behind us, on his pristine 20-acre plot of land near the central Florida town of Claremont. I have actually been to that farm, along with plenty of other cigar tobacco farms in Mexico, Central America, and the Dominican Republic. And what Jeff, who by the way is a very nice guy, there's actually a cigar box signed by Jeff hanging on my wall. What Jeff is doing there is super legit. So it's always cool to see products like his, which is the only premium cigar tobacco grown in Florida, in products from a company like Drew Estate.
Plus, 20 Acre Farm being a Drew Estate product means it's the creation of master blender and Pan Con podcast guest Willie Herrera. Support our guests and sponsors. Get it online. Ask your local cigar shop about 20 Acre Farm by Drew Estate. Learn more about Drew Estate and use their store locator to find a cigar shop near you that carries their products at drewestate.com.
That's right. I'm probably going to smoke one of those right now.
What are we waiting for?
What I find really interesting about, like, Miami in general is everyone's like, well, you know, there's pastelitos and croquetas in every corner. It should be easy to do. Listen, they're not easy to do. I don't know who the fuck lied to you guys, but they're not fucking easy to do. They take up a lot of fucking space. You know, like, for Chugs, we do probably around 2,000 croquetas a week.
Yeah.
And after the first couple weeks, I was like, I need to find another solution because I had like 5 people make croquetas.
Yeah.
So we got a machine.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
We make the masa, it breads them, keeps them all consistent.
Yeah.
It's great. And it's like, pastelitos are all handmade. Obviously, Gio makes them all. But it's still a lot of space, a lot of time. People don't really understand. They don't get it.
No.
They don't get it. What do you sell your pastelitos for?
About $4, $3.85 for
Good.
depending on like.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I would even charge fucking more.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fucking work, man.
Yeah, it's sure. And that's exactly what Mary. She's the owner of Bagelsaurus. She's like, this is a special thing, and you put a lot of work into this. 100%. So like, yeah, and then you get some people like, well, there's like 3 times the price of a pastelito in Miami or things like that. It's like, well, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, those are regular pastelitos.
Yeah, yeah.
This is what I, because me and Gio had this back and forth a lot when he first started Pastelito Papi. I was like, Gio, you got to charge like $4.
Yeah.
Because first of all, and his pastelitos are fucking massive.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they're big.
Yeah.
They're a breakfast. Like, you don't really need much else.
Yeah.
You need coffee and one of those pastelitos and you're good.
You're good, yeah.
And he was like, I don't know, they're really expensive. Other pastelitos are like $1.25. And I'm like, let me ask you a question. What's the going rate for a fucking cookie nowadays? $4?
Yeah.
$4.50?
Yeah.
So what the fuck is the difference?
Yeah.
This is actually, no offense to any of the cookie makers in the world, because cookies are also their own art. But
Right.
there's a lot that goes into a pastelito.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, it's tough. So, as soon as we did it, it was like, and also, using really good ingredients, making your own puff pastry, caring about the filling that's inside of it. I mean, $4 is like, I think at $3.85 you're cheap.
Yeah.
You're cheap. I'm with Bagelsaurus.
Yeah.
You should charge more. That's cool. So what has it been like from like the beginning? Tell me about like the first time you did the pop-up and what was the reaction? I mean, I couldn't imagine that there's tons of Cubans in Boston, are there?
I'm finding out there are.
Oh, that's
cool.
Yeah.
That's one of the coolest things. Yeah, it's true. It's one of the coolest things about doing this whole thing is like how many people like, oh, I either grew up in Miami or like I'm Cuban or my parents like I grew up eating this shit, and so they're just like so happy to see it, and they like buy like. The first time I did the pastelitos, I think I made like 20, 25 of them, thinking like nobody knows what this is, and like I think they were gone in like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah.
Bet.
And then it's like the next time it's like a ticket rolls in first thing in the morning. They want 7 of them and stuff. It's like, oh, I'm taking this to my office. Everybody, or I know a Cuban, and I told them about this.
I'm Cuban B. Yeah. That's my favorite. I'm Cuban B.
Cuban B. Yeah. But yeah, it's like they've been received very well. Like,
awesome.
And I mean, I started doing the Cuban sandwiches first, and people loved them.
You do a large loaf or small loaf for the bread?
I do. Well, the ones I do there are on the bagel, and when I do my Cuban bread, I do like rolls.
Cool.
I really like the rolls because like it all started with like I wanted to do fritas. This is one of my like personal all-time favorite things.
Bring it in.
And just like not a single place in Boston, nobody knows what it is. And so I was like, I'm gonna figure out the rolls, and then doing the loaves, I couldn't get the shaping down. I was like, well, I don't know. I'm just gonna stick with the rolls.
Yeah,
maybe eventually,
stick with what
but
you know in your practice until you get the other one right.
I also like the look of like the sandwich on a roll,
right.
The Cuban sandwich, even
you press them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a presser. I don't like pressing sandwiches.
Oh yeah.
I get a lot of shit for that too.
I mean, my girlfriend is right there with you.
Yeah.
She's like, this bread is too good to just like smash it.
I'm with her.
Yeah.
I am with her.
Yeah.
There's nothing like soft Cuban bread. Like, fuck me up.
Yeah. It's true.
Dude.
It's true.
Like, soft Cuban bread, just like still steaming under the oven, like, and it just pulls apart, and then you put entirely too much fucking butter on it, and then you dip it in café con leche. Like, I don't have mornings like that anymore because it's not healthy. But
that's
fuck,
fair.
man. Like, that is euphoric.
Yes.
And it's it's the same thing as like I love fritas too, but I like mine on a potato bun.
Okay, yeah.
I also get a lot of shit for that.
Yeah.
Like right now our Cuban sandwich at Chugs is on white bread. I don't care. I think it tastes delicious.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as like putting a Cuban sandwich on a bagel.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't need to be on Cuban bread.
Right. Right. It's the lechon, it's the like the components and everything.
What
and
do you
like
put? What's your build? Are you pro Tampa, pro Miami? Like, I hate this stupid rivalry between the Tampa and Miami Cuban, but
I feel like I'm not like well versed enough.
Well, basically, like Tampa puts salami in theirs.
Okay. I don't do that.
I'm not mad at it.
But I don't. I like. It sounds delicious.
Thank you. That's all I was looking for.
I mean, like, salami is good. We
Right.
carry salami, and maybe I make like a secret.
Right.
Hey, get the Tampa style.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Make it Tampa style.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
secret
good
menu
for you.
kind of thing.
That's
Yeah.
good. I like
Yeah.
that.
There we go.
I'm gonna
Thanks
go up
for
there
that.
I'm gonna go up there to Camberville and be like,
Yes.
make it Tampa style.
Make it Tampa
Yeah.
style. Do it. Do it.
What does that mean? Just make it Tampa style.
Just do it. Just do it. Yeah, and I mean, I like double, and the bagels are so good. Like we do sourdough bagels.
Love that.
And it works. It works, and it's hilarious seeing. We open at 7 a.m. and it's like 7 a.m. and people are ordering this like hulking Cuban sandwiches. Is might put them down for the day.
Fuck, man.
But they do it, and like they sit there and eat it. It's not like a. It's not. I'm gonna save. Some people save it for later, but you know.
So, I mean, really, like, I couldn't imagine eating a Cuban sandwich at 7 a.m. Even on the bagel.
Yeah.
I don't care on anything.
Yeah.
It's just a lot.
Yeah.
Just like the fucking, it's also like tostada. I love it, you know, when you get the bread and do the butter. And but I feel like that warm Cuban bread, just soft. I mean, your girlfriend's right.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Is she also Cuban?
No.
Oh, yeah?
No. Yeah.
Oh, introducing her to the ways of the Force.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like
yeah.
that. I like that. That's good.
She really didn't have it. And it's funny, of the two of us, she's the one that speaks Spanish fluently.
Really?
Yeah. It was my first language and I lost it.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
pretty common, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really fucked me up when I went to Virginia for 5 years because, like, you know, nobody speaks Spanish there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was an interesting experience. You know what was the most interesting to me when I moved there is how much I missed all those things. Pastelitos,
Yeah.
baguettes, Cuban
Yeah.
bread. Because there was really none of that there. Like, not even a little bit. There was just, you know, there was a handful of Mexican restaurants and a bunch of Southern places.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, I mean, I learned about, like, biscuits and barbecue, and which is
Oh, yeah.
great.
I mean,
You know, which
yeah.
I love. But, man, there's not quite anything like a café con leche and, you know,
Yeah.
cotadito. And
Yeah.
It's really, really is the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Texas, so like that's where I spent most of my life.
Right.
Same situation. It's just like Mexican food, but I love it.
Right, same.
Love it, but it's just, you know, it's different, you know. But yeah, eating it at home, like, you know, doing the coffee and everything.
So how long have you been doing the pop-up now?
1 or 2 years.
So a good amount of time.
Yeah.
How do
Yeah,
you-
I started like during the pandemic, I started doing it, and it's like, well, great. Now that I have this stuff going, like, how am I going to get people to try it? Like, I can't just invite people over to my house. I could, but nobody would want to come. And we had like a little takeout window at the shop just to kind of adjust and do takeout only, because Boston was pretty serious about like
Were they?
restrictions.
Not
and,
like the Wild West like we were?
No. Yeah. One of my brothers still lives in Texas, and he came up even not too long ago, and he was like, whoa, like,
Oh, they're still pretty intense about it?
they're starting to lighten up. They are, but not too long ago.
Because
yeah.
Florida and Texas, they're like that. They're the true
Oh
Wild
yeah,
West.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
they're just like
1 and 2, and that's where my whole, like, my mom is here, my brother's there, and I was like, oh gosh, we're all living very different experiences right now.
And then you go up to a place that it's still like pretty, you know, and you're like, oh, this is still happening here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And that's what my brother, he's like, it's kind of sad, like, seeing like all these restaurants shut down, and like, and it was, you know, a lot of my favorite spots closed down.
Did they?
Yeah. Despite like the community being very supportive.
There's only so long they could support them.
Yeah,
That's going
exactly.
to actually, like, you know, people are still going to need their rent.
Yeah.
You know, people are still going to need to, I mean, that's why all people could call us the Wild West, but, you know, we had to get back to work sometime, you know? So.
Well, if you're not going to give support
Right.
in one way, then it's like, well, then let us
do our thing?
let us do it, please.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah.
Pretty please. So the takeout window you did during COVID?
Yeah.
And it was just pastelitos and the Cuban sandwiches?
That one was just Cuban sandwiches.
On
and
the
then-
bagel or on Cuban bread?
That was on Cuban bread.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And I mean, we were not set up for it at all. We didn't have like a great plancha or anything like that. So I had to bring one in, and It was fun. It was
Growing-
fun.
I mean,
yeah.
you learn a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like okay, someone's here, great. Let me walk all the way down. Like it's a small shop, but it's like, you know, past the counter. Here you go. I got to get back because another one's going. And but it was fun, and people loved it. And then that led to another pop up at like a coffee shop who they do wine and wine at night and burgers during the summer. So they have this little setup, and he's like, hey, we have this if you want to come and do some. So I did that, and like every time I did it, it would sell out. I was like, this is cool. This feels good.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to do a little bit more of a regular thing, and so basically doing it on the bagel and doing the pastelitos, I'm able to like do it during Bagelsaurus hours. And yeah, it's worked out.
How big? I love the name so much. Bagelsaurus is like, I really want to. Have you ever asked her like, where did the name come from?
Yeah, it's just kind of like, oh, I thought it was fun. It's a good logo too.
I thought it was good.
It's like a really great logo too. It's just like a little bagel with like a dinosaur.
Man.
Yeah, you gotta look
Please
it up.
look it up. Wow.
Yeah.
What's her name? Mary?
Mary.
She
yeah.
sounds like a legend.
Yeah, she's great.
She sounds like a
yeah,
legend.
Yeah, and I mean her bagels are incredible.
Are they?
Yeah, I think it was already a busy spot, and then like I think it was the Food and Wine top 50 bagels in the country.
Oh, great.
She was on there.
That's amazing.
And then got busier, and then I think that was either before or after, but like Triple D reached out. She was we were on there. Busier.
Diners, drive-ins, and
yeah.
dives.
It was a fun
We're here at
experience.
Bagelsaurus over in Somerville. I can just see it.
Can we please get your best Guy Fieri?
I just want the wig. Listen, I like Guy Fieri too, so I'm not talking shit about him.
My favorite Guy Fieri moment was when he was at Benny's Seafood here in Miami, back when that was a thing.
Uh-huh.
And I just loved hearing Guy say, Mofongo!
Did you find the logo?
Yeah, I'm going to send it to you.
Okay, great. So 2 years you've been doing pop-ups. Have you done the frita yet or no?
Not yet. That
Man,
one
you
I've
gotta-
been kind of like, just like tweaking and like I want to do it. I just need like a setup for it at this point. I feel like I'm ready to get it out there a little bit. I've had like, friends try it and stuff, but yeah,
What's their feedback?
they love it.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing to not love
yeah.
about a frita.
No, yeah,
I really think that when people go through life and don't have a frita, it's like a sad life.
yeah.
It was actually one of the more shocking moments of my life when my mom's not like a big food person. And she came to one of my restaurants one day. I was like, Mom, what do you want to eat? She was like, I don't know. I was like, you want a frita? She was like, what is that? I'm like, what do you mean, what is that? Mom, what do you mean? Tell me again. I don't understand. She's like, she doesn't eat burgers and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, it's like a Cuban burger. Wow. Man, that's good. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
And I made her one, and she was like, wow, this is fantastic. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. How
Yeah.
how have we not done this before?
Yeah.
So I really do feel like when people get in there and they try it, it's strange. Like we have at Chugs, we have Pops Frita, which is a combination of things I never thought would work, but they're amazing.
Oh yeah.
Caramelized onions.
Oh.
It's a caramelized onion mojo and blue cheese.
Oh.
And man, it's fucking delicious.
Yeah.
And the blue cheese, we make it like marinated in like olive oil, herbs, and a little bit of vinegar. And it's like, I never thought that shit would work, and man, it's
Yeah.
good.
That's awesome.
It's
Yeah,
delicious.
I gotta try that.
Yeah. So what's next? Like, what do you see as like next steps for you?
I'm kind of at that point where I gotta figure out like how I want things to look.
Right.
Like what capacity I want to do things, like a cart or a food truck or like a little spot. But yeah, I mean, I want to keep it small to start at least, and just kind of go through the process.
Have you thought about like if you're gonna evolve the menu? Because like you would, I mean, in my mind, probably need a few more items.
Yeah, I do picadillo, black beans, like black bean bowls, picadillo, lechon,
Right.
maduros, things like that, and then like maybe rotate some specials or something like that. That's kind of how I have it in my mind.
What is it currently like? How many different pastelitos do you have right now?
I do like a guava cream cheese one,
Gotcha.
and that's the standard. And I do some savory ones. I want to start doing picadillo ones. I do the, I've been calling them cubanitos. It's just like a Cuban sandwich in the pastelito.
I did that once.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Man,
yeah.
it's so good.
It's delicious.
We called it
Yeah.
the Cuban Hot Pocket.
Cuban hot. That's a good.
Yeah, we called it the Cuban Hot Pocket. That's
Yeah.
right. We opened up Chugs with that. The first, like when Chugs was a pop-up. And man, they were delicious.
Yeah.
We've also done pizza pastelitos. Don't sleep on that. That is good.
Pizza pastelitos.
We're sharing secrets here.
Yeah.
Those pizza pastelitos, man, they're a little bit tougher of a bake because we just do them in a half hotel pan, like the whole thing, and then we cut them into squares.
Okay, yeah.
But man, they're fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, real good.
I mean, pizza pastelito.
I know, there's nothing wrong with that. We've really, I feel like in the fillings department, we've done so much different shit, man. And it's 90% of the time, they're always good. Because, like, if you, growing up in Miami, the biggest problem with pastelitos is, like, it's always kind of like the same stuff on the inside. I think if you're really elevating all angles of it, like good puff pastry, a good ingredient on the inside, if someone that actually cares about like what it tastes like, not just trying to like make it so they could sell it for like 95 cents, it's just hard to beat, man.
Yeah.
I'm a big breakfast person, and like pastelitos are, because you could do savory or sweet. It's really however you want to feel your like whatever your morning's feeling like.
Yeah.
I find that pretty amazing. Do you do coffee too or no?
No. Eventually I definitely want that to be part of it. But
You're a coffee person,
yeah.
I'm assuming?
Yeah.
What's
I was the barista for 10 years or so.
Oh man,
Yeah.
so you're really a coffee person.
Yeah.
You're like real into
Yeah.
it. Oof. What's your favorite coffee?
I mean, I normally just go for espresso.
Well, I'm talking about brands.
Brand. Well, one of my friends started roasting coffee that I worked with in Texas at the coffee shop, and Novel Coffee Roasters. It's just amazing stuff. It's amazing stuff, and like Boston, it's kind of a growing like. I feel like I keep hearing new spots, and there's some places in Maine, Tandem Coffee Roasters. They do really good stuff.
I've been there.
Yeah?
Tandem coffee is amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
So good. Like I remember I did a dinner there, this was before COVID, and I would so usually an early morning person, I would jog there. And not only was their coffee amazing, but like their pastry game is fucking amazing too. Like I still have pictures that I refer to on my phone, because like they just did like a simple like egg and cheese biscuit that they would hold warm, and I was like, I guess I'll try it. And fuck, man,
Yeah.
it was so good. That's one of the better coffee shops I've ever been to. As being like everything, like they have great coffee, their food is great too.
Yeah.
Service was really good. Their operation was like solid. The way that they operated, and like I was there for 5 days. I went there 4 days.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
Yeah, it was like they
That's
got
when
me.
you know it's a special. Yeah.
And it was like, just 2 miles away. It was a nice walk or a jog. It was like it was really, really good. And they were always slammed.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what day of the week, they were always slammed. There
Yeah.
was always a fucking line.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, Tandem coffee is good.
Yeah, I love that. Broadsheet. There's a broadsheet. That's one in Cambridge. I think it's the only one in Cambridge. That's who they do the coffee for Bagelsaurus now.
Oh yeah.
They did like a special roast for us.
And Bagelsaurus, they have like a kind of like a third wave coffee game, or is it like pretty standard coffee game?
It's just like drip coffee, cold brew.
Yeah, it's still great.
Yeah.
And
That's all you really need.
It's interesting though, like as a barista, you prefer like Cuban style coffee, or you're going like espresso or pour over? Or...
what I make at home is mostly Cuban style.
Yeah.
I typically start my day like that, or I start my day with like an espresso, and then when I get home, Cuban style coffee. I got to ease up on the sugar a little bit, but
for sure. I went without sugar for years, and now I still like majority of the week I'll go without sugar.
Yeah. It's probably
a lot
good
of
practice.
sugar, man.
It is.
The other day I brought Nick a coffee. We were at my warehouse, and I was like, "Oh, Nick's there. I'll just bring him like a colada." And I had cotadito but dark, and I gave him the thing, and he was like, "Oh, you want another shot?" I took a shot. And I was like, "Holy, this is like fucking simple syrup, for fuck's sake, man!" It was like he was like, one shot. He's like, Yeah, I'm done here. I mean, it was
Yeah.
it was a lot of fucking sugar, man. It was intense.
That was where I went back to my thermos of rum.
Yeah, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it was. They're real loose with the sugar here. And honestly, when I got into third wave coffee, it was like a whole new experience for me. So I grew up on Cuban coffee my whole life.
Right.
Either tastes like dirt,
Yeah.
or really sweet dirt, or like a pretty decent coffee.
Yeah.
You know, because no one really uses like good beans to make
yeah.
Cuban coffee. So that's interesting. So what do you think? Like, do you think maybe within the next year you're gonna move from like a pop-up level, try to move to like a brick and mortar, or are you gonna keep on doing like pop-ups, or what are you feeling?
That's the goal. Like over the next year to kind of try and like at least take steps towards that. I feel like I'm in a good spot right now because I'm able to like get my stuff out there and like new people all the time. Like every time I do a pop-up, it's like, oh, new followers, new people showing up and like talking about it. And so I'm not trying to rush anything, but at the same time I'm itching to like get more out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, pop-ups are good. I mean, Chug started as a pop-up.
Yeah.
We didn't expect that it was going to do what it did, and then it was like, well, I guess people really like this.
Yeah.
I guess maybe we should stay around.
Yeah.
So I find it interesting, like because there's a lot of obviously like Cuban mentanitas and stuff. When you do just put some effort, make it interesting, people will really appreciate that stuff, I think.
Especially, I mean, like the Cambridge, Somerville area, Camberville. They just love new stuff.
For sure.
There's so many people and like anything. I mean, one there's like a noodle shop that I love. It's like a Japanese udon place, and like they have one thing, and it's just like a line constantly.
Amazing.
Very busy. They just do like beef noodles. You can get it hot or cold, spicy or not.
And that's
it.
Wow.
It's cool. Yeah. I mean, there's a ramen shop down the street too that they literally serve one thing. It's like
just
one
the
specific.
ramen.
Yeah. And they've been doing like more kind of like. They've been doing this like series of like home chef pop-ups where it's like getting people to come in. It's really cool. It's like inspiring stuff. It's not a ramen shop. It's a dream workshop where like you go in, you eat this giant ass bowl of ramen, and then they ask you, do you want to share your dream? And you stand up and tell everybody your dream.
Interesting.
It's cool. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Camberville, man. I can't wait to visit
You
this place.
You got to come up. Yeah.
It sounds so. What are the restaurants like there? Like, are there a lot of chains, or are there some like small, nicer mom and pops? Or
it's mostly like mom and pops.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. That's one of the things I mean, growing up in Texas, it was almost nothing but chains, especially
really?
like the area I was in.
I've never been to Texas.
Yeah.
I just went to Austin for the first time, and that was like my only time.
Austin, yeah. How'd you think?
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved
Austin's
it.
Cool.
Austin's
cool.
I mean, I was literally there for 32 hours.
Okay. Yeah.
Not very long, but I
Yeah.
got a lot accomplished in 32 hours.
Yeah.
It was like a very intense 32 hours.
A lot to do there.
Yeah.
A lot to do there.
Yeah,
Very cool vibe and like very different from the rest of Texas.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And where did
Yeah.
you live in Texas?
I grew up in a town called Southlake, and it was very like affluent.
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah. But yeah, nothing but chains.
Interesting.
And then I was living in a place called Denton, and a lot of people call it like a little miniature Austin. It's a little college town. They got 2 colleges there, and it was a lot cooler. A lot more mom and pop kind of. Like it's like, oh, cool things do exist here. But then moving to Camberville, it was like, this is amazing. Like you got to go out of your way to get fast food or anything like that. I don't think I know where a Chili's is.
No way. What about like fast food chains, like all the chains, like fast food, like McDonald's?
Yeah.
Really?
They're there, but it's like they're not like accessible. I mean, once you get into downtown Boston, it's a little bit more, but like Somerville, Cambridge is a lot different. Yeah.
I mean, it's so different from obviously what I grew up with is like just fucking that shit's in every corner.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's why the smaller mom and pops can do like smaller menus and be super successful because there's variety, but it's focused variety.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, how long has Bagelsaurus been there?
8 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's a long time. And you've been there for how long?
4.
Oh, good amount of time too.
Yeah.
So you just started fucking around with your own stuff like 2+ years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. And what made you do the jump from like saying like I want to make pastelitos? Like what was that initial thing that was like, I think people would dig this, or is that just you because you wanted to eat some of the stuff you grew up with?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
And share, like, it's like doing the whole thing was like an attempt to like kind of connect to the Cuban culture.
Sure.
Kind of, because it's non-existent in Boston.
I think it's really non-existent like anywhere out of South Florida.
It's true.
Yeah. I mean, once you leave here, I mean, Nick probably Nick's a world traveler. Probably no, I think he's been around more than I have. But like when I leave here and you run into a Cuban, it's kind of like, hey, you're here.
Yeah.
I don't even know who you are. But we could be cousins. I don't even know.
That's what you always know when it's a Cuban person that comes in to get the stuff. Because they let it be known.
Oh,
so, are you the Cuban guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. I'm Cuban.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I haven't had a pastelito in years.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
And you've come across that a good amount?
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
and just
so
like
dope.
DMs on Instagram, like this is so great to see.
Imagine, like when I was in Virginia, if there was somebody making a Cuban sandwich within 50 square miles, I probably would have gone.
Yeah.
Because fuck, it's just like that was just didn't exist. It just didn't exist. And then the locals there, the reaction from them has been pretty similar, like good.
Yeah, they're into it. And I mean, there's a lot of people who, like, there was a spot, I forget what it was called, that used to do like a really good Cuban sandwich before I moved there, and it shut down. And after that, a lot of people, I guess, gave up on like finding a good Cuban sandwich in the area. And I mean, it's good to hear, like, when they try it, it's just like, this is the best one I've had since then. Like, it's,
that's cool.
like it's back. And this is great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what is like the regular fare there? Like, I guess it's interesting, right? Like, what do people commonly eat there? Because if it's such a small town, like, what are the restaurants, some of the mom and pops, like, known for, other than the people that sell, like, pho and ramen?
Yeah, it's really all over the place.
Is it?
Yeah, you get a lot of Thai, like, there's, because I mean, with Harvard being like, it's like right down the street from Harvard and MIT, you get all these different people from all sorts of places. Yeah, and like, so you get like a little Japanese food court in the Lesley University building. Cool. And it's cool, but you know, a lot of seafood.
Yeah.
Sandwiches, things like that. Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it's a lot of seafood.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of more of like that northern seafood fare. You know, lobster rolls, fried seafood of some
fried
kind.
Clams
with tartar sauce.
Yeah.
Which is all delicious,
It's
but
great.
all very, very different from Cuban food in any which way whatsoever.
Yeah. Like the people try, it's like, I've never had pork that like has this much flavor.
Yeah.
It's like, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, right?
It can be so wonderful.
Well, it's crazy. Like, I get that because when I moved to Virginia and they were like, yeah, we're going to go get some barbecue. And I'm like, well, we're going to go cook on a grill? I had no idea what, like, like actual Southern barbecue was.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what the fuck is this? This is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been eating beans and rice my whole fucking life.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, it's all these pickles and all these biscuits and cornbread. And it's not even Thanksgiving. I don't get it.
Biscuits. Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I was going to, just because I think we're trying to, what time was it that you had? I know you had a bit of a hard stop.
Yeah, 80 minutes is what I said.
Okay. So, yeah, because we're coming up on the 60.
Mm-hmm. So
I wanted to, or we started a little bit late. But anyway, just because I know that this topic has the potential to take up a bunch of time. Like one of the first images in your Instagram feed for Ensueño Cubano is like a little, well, the preview for the reel is like a board. And then it's got at the bottom of it, Patria y Vida. So, you know, that's a thing that I think a lot of restaurants in this area and restaurants that people heard of through this podcast, you know, people who listen to this are familiar with the phrase, even if they're not in South Florida. But
Yeah.
that's just sort of my little like segue into the culture that comes with the food, and then of course it being such a like, we don't have to get into like your personal like policy, like the specific Cuba policy stuff, but just in general, like the general perspective on that human rights stuff, because I know that's something that you've brought into your approach to sort of what you're transmitting with Cuban food. So I wonder what your experience of that has been. Like, it seems like a small thing, but putting it's abnormal, right? To put like even a little 3-word political statement at the bottom of a sign at Bagelsaurus,
Right.
You know. So I just wonder what your experience with that, especially in the last few years when it's been such a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I put that down there. I mean, it's one of the, like, I knew it's like, it's going to be on the sign, even though, like, it's a very small little sign. I wanted at least a little bit, kind of hoping people would ask, like, oh, what's that about?
Can I order one of those pastry?
Can I have one of those? It's like, okay, yeah. Like, are you ready for this? But yeah, I mean, I just, like especially like all the protests and everything. It's a tough thing to see, especially like up in Boston. It's even more removed from it, and nobody knows what's going on. Like,
well, again, outside of South Florida, not many. Even in South Florida, a lot of information is pretty fucked.
Yeah, and I want to do my part, essentially, like what little bit I can do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a true believer that any little bit counts.
Yeah.
Like,
Pull that closer to you.
so, okay, sorry. I'm a true believer that every little bit counts. How is that? Better the second time?
Yeah, we're good.
Especially and you'll probably see this more, like you go to a brick and mortar and like, what kind of personality do you want to have when it comes to your connection to the Cuban culture and Cuban food? I mean, all those little bits count, because people start looking at you as like, well, you're the Cuban guy.
Yeah.
So what does that even mean? And it becomes, it's like a little additional pressure that maybe not everyone wants.
Yeah.
But I do find that it's like, it is somewhat our responsibility too.
Yeah.
Because, what you're doing and what we've done and other people like us, we're keeping a whole cuisine alive that's been, beat to a pulp for the last fucking 50 plus years.
Dead in the country that
Like, like
comes
you,
from.
like you are making a better pastelito and a Cuban sandwich that probably so many, I'd say 95% of the Cubans in that country have ever had.
Yeah.
Maybe more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think that there's a lot to be said about that.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty powerful. Something as simple as like that could teach someone so much about. Maybe they'll be like, well, what is it about these Cuban people? And then they'll do a little bit. These Cuban people. Maybe I'll do a little bit of research. What does this patria vida thing mean? What is this all this stuff? What is all this weird information? Oh my God! Like maybe it'll springboard them into supporting in some other kind of way. Because it's true. When you leave South Florida, the whole country is removed. They all want a vacation in Cuba, until maybe they realize what actually happens there.
Yeah.
And I think that it's like, there's a reason why I wear that shirt everywhere I go. Like anytime I have to do any like TV thing, anytime I have to do anything that maybe there's someone's going to be taking photos, maybe people are going to ask me questions, and if they ask me, I'll tell them.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Straight the fuck up what I think.
Yeah.
I don't care who's watching or who's listening.
Yeah.
Because that's, I do feel like it's a responsibility. I think it's cool that you did that, and it really does mean a lot to a lot of people, whether they tell you or not, or they see it. Because I see it. People tell me all the time because they see me wearing the shirt, and then they see the pig in the parachute, and they're like, "Oh, you're the guy."
Yeah.
And you're the one that talks a whole bunch of shit. And I'm like, yeah, that's definitely me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from I'd be really interested to see what other people's feedback in other states would be about like that, even just those.
Yeah.
That small saying.
Yeah, because I mean, Boston's a very political place. Yeah, and a lot. I think a lot of them are kind of like really really misinformed on that, and like they love to see like Cuba as like, oh, it's like a paradise where like everyone has health care and this and that. And like when I went, it's like a time machine. It's wonderful. It's like,
Is it?
have you ever asked the people there? It's like, but don't, because they're probably too afraid anyway.
Yeah, probably too afraid. What do you mean they're afraid?
Yeah.
To say what they, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. They just,
But no, that's not anything I've ever heard.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah.
It's pretty
Like,
common.
That's by design.
well, it's also like, gosh, I really love Cuban cigars, but do you really?
Yeah.
Do you know what it takes for that to happen?
Oh my
and actually,
God.
like every second box or whatever is absolute trash. I don't know. Didn't we talk about this the other day?
Yeah, a lot of consistency issues. But it's like even if they were great, like if Bentleys were made by the North Koreans,
Sure.
Right.
I don't know that I want to buy one.
Yeah.
I'd be
it's-
singing a different tune. And
yeah.
It's like, I get like, socialism, this and that. And like, but it's like, that's not what it is there.
Right.
It's far from it. And, that's kind of like the point I want to get across, that it's, you've heard all these things. It's like, that's not what it seems like. Talk to a fucking Cuban about it.
Yeah.
For once.
Well, just talk to someone that struggled and suffered to
Yeah.
get here.
Yeah.
What's the fighter? Was it Yoel Romero? When he's on Rogan.
Oh yeah, your Romero's Rogan interview
Just
with Joey Diaz's ridiculous translation.
Yeah, I know, but it's still pretty great though.
Joey Diaz.
But it's like, just listen to his story about how it was to get here.
Yeah.
And it's like this you think this is great?
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, you could think whatever you want politically, right?
Right.
Because they're all feeding you a bunch of bullshit anyways. But the reality is that this story right here, this is a story that a lot of people should know and they don't know.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly, entirely fucked.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people are like, no, it can't be. But I mean, Jay-Z, Beyonce go there for vacation. I'm like, well, they're part of the
be
fucking
wonderful.
problem
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's tough. Like when I the cigar conversation I love having, because when I did that Discovery show with Ludacris, trying to teach him how to cook, which he was a very cool dude.
Yeah.
The show is called Luda Can't Cook.
Right. Yeah. And he was a big cigar guy. He loved Cuban cigars, and he was like, "Yeah, I love Cuban cigars." I'm like, "Well, that's a shame."
Yeah.
And he was like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't really support communism, so I don't smoke."
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, "What do you mean?" So then we went because we filmed for like 3 days. It's just like back and forth about like why it's bad. And this and that. And just the fact, and maybe he could have just been bullshitting me, but he's like, "I'll never buy it." He was like, "I have a lot of them already, but I won't buy another one ever."
Yeah.
That to
That's
me,
cool,
if that's
yeah.
actually true,
Yeah.
like I made a difference there that I can hold with me for a long time.
And maybe he'll tell somebody else.
Correct.
And like,
Correct.
it's great. Yeah.
So, a lot of it goes into it, and I think, when you're starting a food business, especially like there's already so much on the line, like it's so much work and trial and error and vulnerability and doing food and do people like it, whatever. Then to add on top of that, like kind of a mission statement on top of that, it's admirable.
Yeah.
It's not easy, because some people would be like, well, what do you mean? And then you get into this whole political conversation that maybe you could lose a customer.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I'm okay. I don't
That's
really want
fine.
your money. Yeah, I don't really want
That's
your
fine.
money.
Yeah.
That's fine. You
Yeah.
can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Luckily haven't gotten into it. I guess maybe not lucky, but like haven't really gotten into it with anybody. Like,
you seem like a pretty easygoing guy, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe the pastelitos are just good.
Yeah. Maybe they just want to
whatever
shut
you
their mouth
say,
so
whatever you
possibly
say.
don't. Yeah.
I will say
Let me get 8 of those.
Yeah.
Let me get 8 of them. That's
those.
cool.
Yeah. Fine. Whatever. I hate them too.
I just sent you a DM. I don't know if you'd seen a photo of them, but they look a lot like in the style of Gio's.
Oh yeah.
So I'm only inserting myself here because again I know that you had your 80-minute cutoff. And I want to.
What do you do with the butts when you cut them?
Normally that's for the staff. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always told Gio we should do something with that. That's perfect. I love that.
Oh, is that-
Yeah, it did. I've always told him we should do something with that. But yeah, they look so good, dude.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You ever tried to do the triangle shape?
I did.
How'd it go?
I liked it. I had a lot of like leaking issues with
Did it?
those. Yeah. And part of it is like I wanted to get the size up too.
Yeah.
And also since I'm doing them all by myself, like hand rolling everything and like from a production standpoint, it made a lot more sense just to do a couple big logs and cut them down.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we make like big logs.
Yeah.
And cut them down from there.
So unless there's Mike, unless there's another direction that you want to go, I'm thinking maybe we do the wind down, because I think somebody not from Miami would make for a good lightning round. So I don't want to miss out on that.
Well, we already know I'm not going to ask him if he likes bagels, because I'm sure he does.
Well, but you could ask which kind.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Man,
So,
that looks good, dude.
so we're going to awkwardly transition to our wind down stuff. We're going to start with parting recommendations. This is where you could recommend absolutely anything. It could be a thing that people should read, watch, eat, a place they should go, maybe something in your neck of the woods, as long as it's not yours, because then we'll do shameless plugs. You can tell people where but you can go first, or you can let us give you a little bit of time to think about it.
I got a couple.
Okay.
Get in there.
Yeah, I got a couple.
Do it.
There's a place in Maine, actually. So not even really. I mean, kind of my neck of the woods.
Doesn't matter.
It's Biddeford, Maine. It's just south of Portland. It's a Palace Diner.
That sounds made up.
They actually, I think yeah, but it's just like this wonderful little. It's an old mill town, and it's like, I think it's the oldest diner in the country, and has been, as far as I know, a couple chefs like worked in New York, got tired of like that, wanted to do something a little bit more like casual, and they do these. It's just like diner food, but with like amazing technique. So like everything you have there is like, oh, this tuna melt is like, why is this so good?
Yeah, it's proper.
I mean, I went there for breakfast the first time, and I got the double cheeseburger, and just everything was perfect. Like the bun was toasted perfectly, the patties were great, the beef was good, melty cheese. It was great. The fries also, like, it looks like nothing special. Wonderful.
Right.
The banana bread, like they butter it, throw it on the flat top, put some salt. I think it's brown butter, actually. It's just,
I think the real thing is like when, like that kind of food, if you just like really care about the details of
Yeah.
it, and like just all the small execution points, it's like the food is perfect.
yeah, and the people that work there have just been lovely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love that. It's one of those places. I'm sure you've had a place where you go and when you leave, you're just like, that's special.
Yeah.
That's a special spot.
Often.
Yeah.
I've, like at least recently in traveling, like I've gone to a couple places and I'm like, man, that was fucking great.
Yeah.
Like really, really good.
Yeah. Like I couldn't stop thinking of it. I went home and I ordered a hat.
Oh, I love
was like,
that.
I need this. I want a constant reminder of this
Yeah,
place. And
that's
like
cool.
anytime it's like, oh, there's a show. Oh, they're going to Portland. Let's go there.
Yeah.
So that on the way home we can get Palace Diner. But yeah, I love that place. Yeah. Let's see, something to watch.
Yeah.
I've been into a show on Hulu, Only Murders in the Building. Yeah.
We got a fan.
It's fun. It's a funny show. Steve Martin Short. I love them.
I like that.
Yeah. And it's just like I love like whodunit mystery kind of stuff mixed
that's cool.
with comedy. That's for me.
Love that.
Yeah.
Michael Beltrán, any parting recommendations for the people?
No, I mean, like we haven't done this since I came back from DC, right?
That's right, yeah.
So I was lucky enough to eat at the Dabney when I was there, and man, it was such a special dinner. I thought everything from like service to food, the room's beautiful, and it's like very kind of like casual in setup, and just like the food is really elevated and beautiful. Cocktails were great. I also went to this space called the Allegory, and it's just like a small cocktail bar that's in a hotel. And I had one of the better cocktails I think I've had in my life there. And it was just like I forgot the name of the cocktail, but it was like clarified and it had like tropical rum in it, coconut and sesame, and it was just fucking lights out. And I was fortunate enough to talk to the lady responsible for the cocktail. She was behind the bar, and I was just like, I drink a lot, too much, and that cocktail was fucking exceptional. It was like really, really incredible, to the point that I still think about it.
Yeah.
Which for me, like, if it leaves that kind of like long lasting effect, you know, I'm like, man, that's pretty fucking special.
Special, yeah.
Watching things.
What was that you posted from a bar where there was a lot of singing happening?
Oh,
also
man.
looked like a good time.
What an experience that was. So we I was with the guy who just tried to hijack my podcast, John Falco, and former or podcast Hall of Famer Carlos Escanilla, and this was a guy's trip, which I had never actually been on one of those. And then when I got there, I realized, well, I guess this is a guy's trip.
Yeah.
And you know, there was this bar I had tried to go to a couple times, and I ended up not going. It's called Service Bar, but it's like one of the top 20 bars in the country. It was fine in my opinion. But down the street from there is a dive bar that I've been to several times in DC called Solly's, and it's pretty well known. That whole street, I think it's called U Street, pretty well known. That's where Ben's Chili Bowl is. Service Bar, a bunch of spots.
Yeah.
And we walk in, and you know, like I'm a dive bar guy, so that was actually like my 4th time there this year. So we sit down, whatever, you know, we order beers, shots, whatever, and the guy behind the bar, his name was Antoine, very nice guy, and I guess he was one of the managers within the company, and they just needed him to work there that night. I didn't even know that bar had like other bars or whatever, and he was jamming, he was controlling like all the music, and he started playing like kind of like that mid-southern R&B from the 90s. And like it was songs that like everybody knew, and everyone just started singing.
Oh, that's the best.
And just like, and it's a whole bar full of people singing, having a fucking great time, and it's all like old school R&B. And obviously Carlos Escanilla is the lead singer of Sunset Dreams. If he doesn't tell you that, I'd be shocked. But he is the lead singer, and he joined in, and it was like this really. It was kind of like one of those experiences that you see like in a movie that's like, man, that looks so cool. And it was like, I was sitting there and I was pretty banged up, and I was like, man, this is fucking amazing. Like such a good time. People standing on tables singing. There was one lady twerking on the wall, standing on a table. It was just like such a time. You know? I would say, you know, this trip to DC was really good. It was a lot of fun. We went to go watch Rage Against the Machine, which shockingly, after, I don't know if they've been doing that for like 30 years or however long, they still sound exactly the same.
Wow.
They sound the exact same as they do on an album, they do live. It was incredible. Like, and I just felt like I was 14-year-old me again.
Yeah.
Just listening to them like being angry the whole time. Just like, yeah, fuck the world. Like, you know, like, it was really good.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
When did you get back? Saturday? Or?
Yeah, the Saturday.
So did you miss the Bad Bunny concert?
No, the Bad Bunny concert was this past Saturday. That was the week before that I was gone. Sad, you know. Bunny didn't send me my tickets, so I couldn't.
Oh man, come on, Bunny.
Yeah,
come on, Bad Bunny.
Really, I don't know. I got to hit him up, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, that happened also in Miami, the Bad Bunny concert. Right. And listen, you know,
if that's your thing,
if that's your thing, and that's your thing. Right. What music do you listen to?
I grew up on punk.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
And still punk?
Punk, kind of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, dabble in the reggaeton a little bit.
Do you dabble in the reggaeton?
Dabble in the reggaeton.
Reggae-dabbler.
Yeah.
You know, but I get that, right? Because when I lived in Virginia, I dabbled in the reggaeton also.
Did you really?
Yeah, because, you know, it just kind of made me feel a little bit more at home.
I think that's what it is. Like,
I promise you that's what it is.
I never in my whole life, I like actively hated it. And then working at Bagelsaurus, like, we've got, you know, a lot of Colombians, a lot of, you know, and like, it was just playing all the time. I'm like,
you gotta.
It's fun. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's definitely fun. I'll say that much. It's definitely fun. In Virginia, though, I felt like that was one of the things that really, I felt like I was like back in Miami, just in my car. So.
All right, so we'll shift over to shameless plugs. Alexys, tell everybody where they can find your stuff online and in the world.
Yeah, you can find my Instagram, as you said earlier, Ensueño_Cubano. I make most of my announcements on there. Cambridge, Massachusetts, Bagelsaurus. Every Tuesday, I do a little pop-up, so if you want it, try and get there early because they tend to go quick. But I'd like to keep doing more, But stay tuned for, future kind of growth.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Michael Beltrán, shameless plugs.
Insert song.
All the things. I still gotta recommend all my shit. I mean, we've done this 80 times already.
All the things. All the things. Arietta Nave, Scapegoat and the Taurus, Shugs and the Gibson. All the things.
All the things. At this point, just all the things.
Big Ink Apparel, Scoops and Lorel, Miami against the world. All the things.
All the things. Insert song.
All the things.
All the things.
All the things.
So finally, our shameless plugs. You can find Bang Gong Podcast on all of the social media things at Bang Gong Podcast, like a podcast sandwich. It's not Pumpkin Podcast. It's not Panko Podcast. It's not Pinko Podcast. It's Bang Gong Podcast. What's up?
Last thing I would like to mention so Johnny Spiro of Reverie in DC, really great dude, great restaurant. He's got a couple other spots too. Reverie just had a fire, pretty bad one. So it's put the restaurant in a place that it can't operate. So he's got to go fund me for staff help and just support there. I know that they're trying to get that place back up and running, but if you feel like, chipping in, I'm pretty sure if you go to the Instagram, they have a link there. So.
Cool. We'll post that on the social stuff. But yeah, Bang Gong Podcast on all the social media things. When you're done giving your money to Reverie and their GoFundMe, give us all your money at patreon.com/DADEMAG, DADEMAG. Let's make sure they get that fire figured out so I can ask you a little more shamelessly for your money.
Right. Be on the lookout for the PD OnlyFans.
That's right, PD's OnlyFans.
Still working on it.
Yeah, many months. PD is my dog, PD, and he will have an OnlyFans soon to raise money for this podcast. All of the exclusive PD dick pics will be available on PD's OnlyFans. DM me, and I will gladly send you previews if you need to be convinced. Talked into giving us your credit card information for PD's dick pics.
Wow.
And now we are heading into the lightning round, but before our non-paying people get cut off, Alexys, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
And if you are listening beyond this point, you will hear a quick lightning round with Alexys Hernández. This, by the way, is where we do something like this or that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's it.
Here we go.